morning and welcome to America's Home Cooking. Today I'm making potato meatball soup, which is different than the other ones that I have made. Like I told you, I have a lot of different recipes and you can pretty much take which one you want. You need 2 tablespoons in a pot that will hold the soup, and you need 1 onion so far chopped, and that's what I'm doing now. Okay, we got the onion chopped. Well, I made my salt in my baking powder, which I'm happy. Put 2 tablespoons of oil into a big pot. Well, we're going to have 6 cups, something like that. Let me see what size pot they want. A heavy soup pot, okay? Well, I think this will be just fine. You're going to turn the heat under the oil. And what we're going to do is we are going to saute these onions while we get the meat together and other stuff. Okay, let me see what I need. Now you may use milk or cream here, but we need 1/4 of a cup. Yes, sir. My cat's having fun right now. I need one of these. Now, they want a 1/2 inch of French bread torn up. Now, I cannot tell you how much I'm waiting for the oil to get warm. So I just took out breadcrumbs that I had frozen. They're sourdough. So let's see. I should get about, I guess about that much. Now you're going to need 1/4 of a cup of cream. Okay, the oil is hot. I'm going to put my onion in it and start sauteing it. I'm going to move. Well, you can't. You know how to saute an onion, all right? Sauteing means we're just cooking it till it gets soft. Okay. I'll use this spoon this time. And we need 1/4 of a cup of cream. I'm probably saying 1/4 of a cup of cream. Yes, what we're going to do is we're going to warm this cream up, and we're going to put it over the breadcrumbs off of a 1/2 inch slice of Italian bread. I don't know how much that is. I just have breadcrumbs, you know, so I'm just going to use what I have. But I think the cream would be better flavor with potatoes than milk. But if you have milk, go ahead and just use milk. But you're going to warm it up and then put it over the breadcrumbs, so that way they'll get soft faster. If you use it cold, it takes longer. Okay, you don't need a high flame to saute. It's just that you're just cooking them. And you're not going to boil the cream, you're just warming this cream up. Remember that. I wish I could bring the book over here, but I cannot. Come on, Kathy, move. Okay. How much stock do you want? 6 cups. Okay, we can use chicken stock or beef stock, they say. Me, I have vegetable stock, bone broth, and beef stock. So I'm just combining all of mine together because I want to cover for the joints and make sure we get those minerals. That's why I cook the bones. I got the vegetables because I want extra vegetables, which have a lot of antitoxins in them, as well as the beef broth. What you get in the store is nothing compared to what you do when you make it at home. If you want a rich flavor, you do it yourself. Now, while my onion is sauteing and yours, let's talk about Parkinson's disease. You know that one, Parkinson's disease. It causes people to shake like this, to finally their whole body shakes. That is a B6 deficiency. That's what it is. Now, if you go to take B6, like I tell you, you cannot take one B because it throws the other B's off and then you cause other medical issues. So what you have to do is take a B complex with a B6. But if you take that and your digestive system is not up to par, you're going to swallow it, and it's going to go right out the other end, and it's not going to help you. But Parkinson's comes from a B6 deficiency. And a lot of foods do not add all the B vitamins. Now remember, at one time, if we used lard, they used whole grains. They ground the whole kernel up and they made their breads and flour, so they were getting all the B vitamins that would counteract and help the liver produce the lecithin to eat that fat up. But now, I remember when I was little, it was a big thing to sit there and have the whitest cakes, the whitest bread, the whitest rolls, the whitest everything. So it was a thing to bleach the flour and everything else if you wanted to win first prize at a country fair. Why does it have to be that way? They said it tastes better. All what you're getting is sugar and more sugar because starch, which is flour, is sugar, and then you add confectionery sugar in it, then you add sugar on top of that. You put 2 eggs in, 13 grams of protein, the whole cake. The whole cake. So you can see what you're doing to your body. And for the men, who say, but I eat everything, this is what they've brainwashed us into believing. And it started with Egypt, believe it or not. They wanted to the royal family wanted to separate themselves from the everyday people. So the way they did it was they wanted their flour ground and the bran and the wheat germ taken out. So see, if we're royalty, we're pure, so we eat the white flour, so therefore we're pure. We're better than you. Actually, the poor people were eating better than the royals, but the people wanted to be on equal par with them, and in time, people started using white flour instead of the whole grain, because that was considered, oh, that's poor. I don't want to eat that, that's poor. Pour the heavy cream over your breadcrumbs and let them get nice and soft. I'm not going to touch those for a bit, they're hot. So this is why we have white flour. And we have been brainwashed that the few vitamins, and you know they said a few, sit there and they say, well, I got the nutrients I need. That's where it started, because the royals wanted to separate themselves from, like the royal family. Oh, they don't want to belch or pass wind because that's an insult in another country or something, so they're not allowed to eat onions or garlic. Really? So it's all to separate oneself from the common people, but we are all common in our own right. Just because we're in another position doesn't make us any different than anybody else. we might be in a position that we have to run more or work and control more because to keep things running to help everybody. Yeah, I can see that. But a royal family is not above a regular person in the street or anything else. But this is where diets actually got confused. But the simple fact is the royals wanted to separate us from the common people. Are you going? Oh well, don't answer me. You know? So, I go in the opposite direction. I know the whole grains have the nutrients. I know the lard is safer than the shortening. I know that whole grain flours are better than the white. And so I went in the opposite direction. My mother loved beautiful white French bread. I make it all the time for her. I hated that bread. Even when I make it to this day, I really have a problem with it. I can't bring myself to doing it that well. I don't make it as well as I should because of it, but that's where it comes from. So these diseases and stuff we're getting is because generation after generation after generation, we are causing shorts in our body, and each generation is going to be worse than the other. Morning sickness comes from a B6. Pregnancy mask, B6. Foul smelling gas, B6. Need I go further? B6. But you can't take B6 by itself. You've got to take all the B's at once. B6 plays a very vital role. People don't know it. So that's why we have diseases and stuff. Somebody tries to be better and somebody says, oh, I don't eat this and stuff. They're afraid of gas smelling or something. You know, there's a phrase, I should not say this because you young people might be listening. But we have a phrase, but lets us know what's going on. I just can't say it. Okay, I'll use the worm cup again. Okay. Now once your onions are transparent, they've been sauteed, okay? Mine are almost there. Acne is another problem. If you have your B vitamins unbalanced, you have acne. The closer you are to the B's, the less acne that you will have. And this is nutritional knowledge that they already know. I just bring it to you, that's all. And then you can decide. All right, you're gonna pour 6 cups of stock in here. I told you I've got 3 of them. I've got 3 different ones here. So we want 6 cups, and we're gonna bring this to a boil. We're gonna taste it for salt and pepper. Then we'll get the meatballs and stuff going. There's 3. I need to open her. See, pantothenic acid is stress. If you're under a lot of stress, your glands need that pantothenic acid. Of course, they need the acids as well. Of course, people say, oh, I'll take a pantothenic acid and B complex, big deal. But you're missing the other stuff that it needs as well. If you don't get it all together, it just doesn't. As they say, it ain't gonna happen. I love these people that come on and say, oh, you only need to take this. One little thing. No, the body does not work on one little thing. 4. That's 5. Pour that in with that. That's fine. We're going to add salt and pepper to this. I'm going to use some iodized salt. I'll use kelp in the other place. Let me get my peppercorns out. Yeah, I know, it just says salt and pepper. Don't ask me how much pepper or salt. This you have to adjust. I'm going to have to bang my peppercorns and grind them up by hand. You're going to have to taste this and adjust to your taste of salt and pepper. And we're going to bring this to a boil. And then turn it down to simmer. Things are heavy in the kitchen. Once we get it to a boil, we're going to put the lid on and turn it off. I just want to taste it for the salt. Now, let me get a spoon. So remember, whatever stock that you put in it is going to change for the salt and pepper. Because one has stronger flavor than the other, and you have to adjust accordingly. And then I need some salt. Once it comes to a boil, just turn it off. That's all you're going to do. That's why I'm adjusting for the salt right now. So when it comes to a boil, I can turn it off and we'll get those meatballs going and get the potatoes and stuff going. Okay, try again. We're getting there. I can taste the salt more than before. I think that should be it. And just think, if you make your own stocks like this, when you get a family member who's sick, you can make veal, lamb, beef, chicken, turkey, rabbit. Need I go on? Venison stocks. You can make a lot of bone stocks and stuff. And then you have the vegetable stocks, and you can make your own combinations up for them. My husband used to sit there and make me a cup of tea, plain tea, and then he would put honey in it and lemon in it, and he'd put a shot of rum in it, give me 2 aspirins. He wouldn't see me till the next day in the afternoon. I would crash. This tastes really, really good. Come on, I just want to try it again. Okay, we have it now. Has a nice smooth taste. You can taste the creaminess of the homemade stock, which is really nice. So I'm really enjoying this. Okay, now I am gonna run around and get stuff for the meatballs, and then I will be back with you and we will get those together. So give me a minute. Okay, put the lid on and turn it off. Literally turn it off. We're gonna mince 2 pieces of garlic, which I've already done waiting for that. Put it in a bowl. You need 2 slices of prosciutto. I usually don't keep prosciutto in the house, but since all the recipes I've had recently have been calling for it, I'm gonna have to cut this open. This is not gonna work. Don't worry, I'll put it in a Ziploc bag. I need to get to it, so we're going to cut it. You're not supposed to do, this is the biggest no-no, you're not supposed to do this, is use your knife to do this. I'm going to take 2 pieces of prosciutto out, and I think they want it chopped. Yep, they want it minced too. Okay, that's one. Oh, this place really loves plastic. Put that between each sheet. Okay, so we got 2 of those. I remember we used to have to get these and they'd slice it for you. Oh my God, to separate them sometimes, you wanted to scream. I gotta get this back in the refrigerator. That's the only reason I'm doing it. Okay, so you're gonna mince this up. That means chop it fine and put it with your garlic. Well, I think this is minced enough. Next should be, you need sage. A good teaspoon of sage. Though they say 2 teaspoons fresh, so I'm going to just put in with your garlic and stuff. I'm going to put in 1 teaspoon of sage. Now you don't go in there, so we'll have to use the next spoon down. Measure it out. half a teaspoon of grated lemon zest. So this you'll have to judge by eye. I know I'm going to have to fix lemon peels again. Just sort of judge for your half a teaspoon. The zest is just the lemon part, not the white part. The white part has bioflavonoids in it, which work with the vitamin C, but they'd rather throw that out than use it. To me, it would be like, hello, that's important. This is actually what I'm doing right now. Sometimes when I do this, I think of Julia Child when I saw her working. She was really something. Don't worry, it's all sticking to the bottom here. I'll knock it off. Oh, by the way, I'm going to tell you right now, most of the people who write these recipes up, they're not exact on anything. When you watch them, very rarely do you find them exact. They say, oh, put a little bit of this, put a little bit of that. It's almost like reading that old cookbook that my mother had that was green, emerald green. She got rid of it. She shouldn't have. I mean, that was one heck of a cookbook that talked about a time. Toothpicks are wonderful to get stuff out of these. That's why I like to dehydrate. Saves me a lot of time, but I've been going through everything, and spring is coming soon, and it'll be that time to start doing it all over again and start canning. Then there'll be more canning. And then I'll get lots of lemons and I'll be dehydrating them and getting them going. That's why it's important you get certain things done. Okay. Okay, now what do you want done? All right, we want 2 tablespoons of chopped parsley. might be enough. Every time I do parsley, I think of Jazzbo and what he did to my mother's parsley. She was mad. God, was she angry. But he enjoyed it. My grandmother gave me Jazzbo. My mother accused me of something and she made me get rid of him. If I didn't eat our pets, we were definitely giving them away. I think my mother did it because she didn't like my grandmother, Grandma Baker. Of course, they didn't get along. Grandma came one time to the house and she started telling my mother what to do. And my mother told her off. My grandmother never came back. And Grandma said, "That's my son. I know what he wants." And my mother tried to please her. And it didn't work. My grandmother said, "Leave the bacon grease in the back of the stove in a jar and you cook with it." And she was. Next thing we knew is my older brother ended up in the hospital with surgery. My mother threw it out. Grandma did not appreciate that. And that was an ugly scene. Like my mother told her, do not give Sandy laxatives. I was staying with my grandmother for 2 weeks. Did my grandma listen? She went against the doctor's orders and everything. She gave it to me 2-3 times a day, every day. And when I got home, I was sick as a dog. I know, that's a little more than 3, maybe 3. Okay, what else do you want in this? Since I'm doing all of this. All right, we need 1 egg yolk. Boy, just think if it was back in colonial time, they'd say 3 egg yolks, and it's equal to one of ours today. Okay, we got that in there. And what else do you want in here? Okay, let's do, we did that. We did that. Okay, we need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt and a bit of pepper. Okay, 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And a pinch of pepper. That's a pinch. Gotta get out and get those clothes going too. I bet you think I'm going to put ground beef in this, I bet you. You're saying, I know what's coming next. We're going to take the bread here. They want you to squeeze the fluid out of it. I don't have any because mine was something else. And put it in here as well. They want you to mix all of this. You're saying, where's the meat? We'll get to the meat. Just hold on, we'll get there soon enough. They want you to mix this up thoroughly. Now the reason you're mixing it up like this before you add the meat is most people will take the meat and crush it down really tight. And then what happens is that you end up with a very tough meatball. I'm guilty of doing that when I'm in a hurry. This is why they want you to do it this way. First, mix these seasonings together thoroughly. Then you get the meat and you crumble it in and you work it with your fingers only. Now you're going to need a half a pound, I think it's a half a pound of veal. See, I know you probably thought it was beef. No, if you're going to use anything, you can use pork if you don't want to use veal. I thought veal would be exceptional with this dish. I have to make some stuff so we can get stuff going. This is a whole package of veal, so I'll just, take half of it and that'll be it. Because I can always use the veal in something else. About half, yeah. And put this up and get it back in the freezer. Okay, take a small bag here. Now with your fingers to make sure that your meatballs stay tender, and that's what you want. Use your fingers to break it up. Instead of putting your whole fist in it and making it tough, you want to make it tender, where these flavors mingle nicely. So see, this is much different than the ones that I made before. The other ones, I think I used beef, didn't I? Now this one, they said you can make it with pork. Now I have a half a pound of pork in there, so I might try making this a little different and try making it with the pork and see how it comes out. But it does smell good. I'm not gonna lie, it does smell good. Now we're gonna have to make a lot of meatballs with this. Just make sure that it's well mixed. That's what I'm checking right now. Now I have Ezekiel bread and sourdough English muffins, so I might toast the English muffins to go with this as a side dish. But we'll see how the soup looks. Now see, it's not all flattened out. I'm going to need something bigger than this. I wonder if I can get them all on this. No, that's not going to fit. I'm going to have to use this one. Put them in there. Now they want them about the size of a marble, which is small like this. Marbles, you know marbles, the big ones come about that size. That's what they want you to make. So these aren't real big. And when we're done here, we'll get the potato going. Now you cannot use a mandolin. You're not going to be able to. You're going to have to use a box grater. And they tell us to use a Pacific size because if you don't do it right, the potato will not melt. And that's what they're looking forward to. So just warning you ahead of time. Now they want us to put a little bit of meat into the broth, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to bypass that step. Just make the little meatballs and put them in. personally thought they should have used the whole pound, but they said no. I said, okay. I think the first ones I made too big. I might have to take some off of those. These other ones are coming more to the size. If they're sticking to your hands, wet your hands and then roll them. Two. Okay. Yeah, the first 4 I made were too big. I'll have to bring them down. Now you're going to need some Idaho potatoes, what they call dry potatoes, because of what we're going to have to do with the potatoes. So please remember that when we go to do them, you don't want the Eastern potatoes. It's the way they're going to be cooked. I'll bring those other ones down. They're a little too big. This one needs a little more. Okay, I'm going to leave these sitting on this cutting board, and we'll get the potatoes. I have to weigh the potatoes. They want 1 pound, I think, of potatoes. Let me get to that recipe and I'll read the next part. Put this over here and out of my way. Yes, we're going to need 1 pound of russet potatoes. Let me get mine. Idaho are the best. Okay, if you're in a country and you can't get Idaho potatoes, you need a russet potato. They are drier than the Eastern potatoes, the red potatoes, or the yams, and what we need is a dry potato. Yes, 1 pound. Now, I am going to scrub these potatoes and I will be back. If you don't want to leave the skins on, then peel your potatoes and I'll be right back. Okay, we're going back to the stock. Let me see how long these are going to be in. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to bring the stock back up to a boil and turn the flame down to a simmer, and we're going to add half these little meatballs into it and let them cook through, which will take about 3 minutes. And then we're going to spoon them out and put the other half in and give them 3 minutes and then take them out. So you'll need a bowl to put them in. I'll use this one. It'll fit in here, this will be fine. Remember, just for your salt and pepper, if you need to add more salt or not, that's up to you. Alright, I'll put this here. I don't know where I'm going to put anything. What side of this box do they want us to use? Alright, it's the large holes that we're going to be using. We're going to be grating them on this side, the potatoes. And you need 1 pound. I still have more breadcrumbs left on. Okay. Sorry about that. Yeah, I dropped the lid. Notorious. That's me. I'm going to bring you over here. Now, you already saw the broth. So we're going to drop about half of these in. Do be careful you don't burn yourself. It'll take about 3 minutes for them to do their number. And then we will sit there and spoon them out. So we wait 3 minutes, take these out, then add these in for 3 minutes and take them out. And then we're going to be grating that potato, so we'll be turning this off. So when the potatoes are ready, we'll bring them over. I should be able to use something better than this. Let me see. This would be better. I have to say, this really smells very, very good. You would not be disappointed. So go ahead and cook your meatballs for 3 minutes and take these out and add the other half for 3 minutes. And while that is going on, I'm going to start grating my potatoes. I have 3 of them that equal up to 1 pound. And don't forget, this is the side they want you to use. Now, if you peel your potatoes, be careful because you know they're going to turn colors. So you might want to put them in water just to keep them so they don't lose their color. Okay, so I'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, now that you've grated the potatoes, you're going to put them in here after you take all the meatballs out. You're going to put them in here. God, this really smells good. Such an unusual smell, the combinations. All right, we're gonna bring this up to a simmer. You're gonna partially put the lid on. I'll turn it down once it comes up to a boil. And what you're going to do is you're gonna cook these potatoes until they dissolve. This is why you had to grater them. If you used any other size, they won't do what they're supposed to do, but they're actually going to make a nice creamy potato gravy, and then we're going to put the meatballs back into it. So you can see the flavors are coming really nicely together. Once I get this up to a simmer, to a boil, and then I can turn it, I'll cock the lid, and we'll get it going. See, some of these dishes that we make, they have a few extra steps in it, but it brings out such good flavor. You really can't complain. Okay, it's boiling now, and now what we're going to do is we are going to turn this down, leave the lid slightly cocked, and we're going to turn it down to a simmer, and we're just going to let it do what it has to do, and the potatoes are going to just fall apart and make a nice cream base. And then we'll put the meatballs on it. We'll chop up some more parsley, so when we go to serve it, we'll sprinkle the parsley on it, which will give it its color. So this is a very nice meal. I haven't decided if I should make a salad with it or not. I'm still debating on that, but I'll show you when we put the meatballs in and how the potatoes do disintegrate. I think what they mean by to disintegrate is that they're going to become extremely soft, and as you stir it, and when you taste it, to adjust it for salt and pepper again, you'll actually be able to, you can see it, but when you go to taste them, they fall apart. I think that's what they mean, not literally that they're going to be disintegrated into the broth, but they'll be so soft and mushy that when you go to eat them, they break down. Okay, put your meatballs back in with the onion that you probably took out with them. Now you're just going to warm it up, and we'll get ready to serve it, and I'll show you. Once the meatballs are heated, you put it in a container, a bowl, and you sprinkle parsley on it, and that is the dish. So listen, you take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.